On behalf of ILF, I am delighted to welcome you to the ILF 2020 Virtual Leadership and Business Conference. Today, you will hear from Dr. Anthony Fauci, Secretary Elaine L. Chao, important elected officials, U.S. Olympian Nathan Adrian, and many voices, including frontline medical workers. They are truly our heroes. At this time, please stand wherever you are for the singing of the national anthem. We are living in challenging times. COVID-19 has impacted all of us and changing the way we live. The pandemic is by far the biggest health crisis here in the United States and around the world. But we are here today to honor our unsung heroes, frontline workers, medical professionals, and those working to support them in the fight against COVID-19. The International Leadership Foundation has worked tirelessly with other organizations to help those unsung heroes while empowering future AAPI leaders. ILF teaches future leaders through the Civic Fellowship Program. Because of the pandemic, we work with federal agencies to develop virtual internships where fellow intern at an agency or work on a challenge team focusing on social justice, COVID-19 relief efforts, or technology innovation spaces. They also attend weekly seminars, participate in leadership training or coaching. And you'll have the chance to meet some of our Civic Fellow today as they introduce our guests throughout the program. Ladies and gentlemen, to kick off our conference, it is my honor to welcome Tina Way-Smith, Executive Director of the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders.
Thank you, Lynn, for your leadership of ILF as Executive Director. Thank you to Chairman Paul Hsu, President Solomon Chen, and Founding President Chilling Tong for the invitation to speak. I am honored. Greetings to all those joining virtually for the 2020 ILF Leadership and Business Conference. Thank you for keeping our true heroes at the front and center, as well as focusing on rebuilding our community together as we continue to battle the challenges of the pandemic and move forward. It is an honor to join this distinguished list of guest speakers today. It is certainly a disappointment that we cannot all join together in person for the 21st Annual Award and Scholarship Gala, but I'm so glad we can still celebrate the accomplishments of the honorees and recognize the work of ILF and so many others in the AAPI community. The White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders is coming off from a week of virtual events, the AAPI Young Leaders Summit, where we engage with young AAPIs from across the country, from Washington, D.C. all the way to Guam, many of those part of the ILF Civic Fellowship Program. We talked about mentorship and professional development, community outreach with the Department of Justice's Community Relations Services as it relates to hate crimes, pathways to public service, and equipping the next generation of entrepreneurs. We also hosted the opportunity for AAPI young leaders to voice their concerns to the President's Advisory Commission on AAPIs as they prepare recommendations and guidance on behalf of the community to the President through the co-chairs. Under the leadership of the co-chairs of IAAPI, Secretary Ross of Commerce, and Secretary of Transportation Elaine L. Chao, the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders is focused on the next generation to help build a pipeline of future public servants, entrepreneurs, and community leaders. In addition, alongside the President's Advisory Commission on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, we hope to encourage members in the AAPI community who have succeeded themselves to mentor the next generation. We call this passing the torch, which is one of our areas of focus, and we know ILF has really played a wonderful role in leading the way and preparing the next generation over the last 2 decades. So thank you. Along with our federal partners, we will continue to work across the federal government and with the AAPI community to advance economic empowerment and workforce development of AAPIs. Today, more than ever, we have to pay tribute to the tremendous contributions of the AAPI community to every aspect of American society. It is especially important to thank all of the frontline workers in the battle with the coronavirus, since hundreds of thousands of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are employed in our healthcare industry. Through their commitment to their communities and their fellow citizens, they are putting their lives at risk, and some gave their lives to save others. As Secretary Wilbur Ross has shared so poignantly at the May Heritage Month celebrations, quote, "They contribute every day to making America a caring and exceptional nation." We also thank the many AAPI-owned companies for capitalizing on their heritage and global business networks to secure and donate PPE to the nation's hospitals and to our frontline healthcare workers. We could not be fighting this pandemic without the contributions of the AAPI community of more than 22 million Americans, and we will continue to amplify our appreciations. It is also important to reiterate comments from the President, President Trump, Secretary Ross, Secretary Chao, and others that we will not tolerate any instances of racial prejudice or crimes of hate. The Department of Justice has been and will continue to aggressively pursue any and all such cases as it relates to anti-AAPI bias and hate, and we applaud them for it. Lastly, there have been so many AAPI entrepreneurs and small business owners. This community has suffered disproportionately due to the pandemic. The AAPI community has had historic lows in unemployment numbers, and due to the pandemic, that has dramatically increased since the pandemic began. The Department of Commerce is deploying all of its resources to address the economic ramifications of the crisis. The initial CARES Act contained provisions for large and small businesses, workers, families, and communities. The AAPI business community will be instrumental as our country strives to rebuild our domestic supply chains, our industrial base, the workers they employ, and the communities they enrich. As we begin to see our country slowly and very carefully open back up for business, and as bad as this crisis is, I know as a community, thousands of AAPI entrepreneurs will seize opportunities and be part of the rebuilding and creation of jobs. God bless those in your community who have sacrificed so much during these difficult and dangerous and challenging times, and for their families and their loved ones. Our sympathies are with those that have lost loved ones in this pandemic. It has touched many lives, including my own. Please continue to be safe and healthy and keep your loved ones near. By working together, I am confident we will recover from this crisis stronger and more unified than ever before. Next, it is my joy to introduce Ms. Crystal Chen, who is a rising senior at University of Washington, where she is majoring in marketing and English. Crystal is an ILF fellow, but more importantly, she is a White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders summer intern. We have been so fortunate to have her working with us this summer, and we are so thankful for her contributions. Crystal will be delivering a special message from the President.
I'm Crystal Chen, a rising senior at the University of Washington. I would like to read a letter from the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I send my warmest greeting to those virtually attending the International Leadership Foundation's 21st Annual Awards and Scholarship Gala. For more than 2 decades, the ILF has helped future Asian Pacific American leaders to develop the essential skills needed to succeed. The emphasis on your core values of civic engagement, leadership, empowerment, and economic prosperity help dedicate young men and women become future leaders. Through your organization's program, you are helping drive our nation's economic growth, promote honest public service, and developing lasting and meaningful relationships between stakeholders in the public and private sectors. This afternoon ceremony is also an opportunity to recognize those individuals who answered our country's call of duty to combat the coronavirus pandemic. Countless Asian Pacific American medical workers, volunteers, and donors have been instrumental in our nation's response to the virus, and we are grateful for their willingness to help their fellow Americans during these challenging times. First Lady joins me in extending our congratulations to this year's honorees, and we send our best wishes for a memorial evening. May God bless all in attendance, and may He bless the United States of America.
I'm Christine Sean, a rising junior at the University of Virginia. An age-old story of America is that as immigrants become successful, they give back to our country. ILF's prime example is our chairman, Dr. Paul Hsu. In addition to his leadership and support of ILF, he is also the founder of the Hsu Educational Foundation and has over 30 years of experience in business leadership and public service. He was nominated by President Trump as chairman of the President's Advisory Commission on AAPI. Please welcome Chairman Dr. Paul Hsu.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Hsu. It's really honored to be here and also honored to serve as the chairman for ILF. It's hard to believe ILF is over 20 years history now, so good times really pass very fast. The Civic Fellowship Program has been the nation's most prestigious AAPI leadership program. Students spend the entire summer in Washington, D.C. to learn how to network and access the government and our public policy to help our own community. Every year, ILF also sponsors over 100 students for the Washington Leadership Program in conjunction with many other very prestigious AAPI organizations. We're doing this because we believe education and training always play a very crucial role to shaping our nation's identity. Confucius once said, if you only have 1 year plan, you plant rice. If you have 10 years plan, you plant tree. But happen if you have 100-year plan, you start educate your children. We want to continue this wonderful program to develop our young people because hopefully one day they're all going to be just like you, a very successful community leaders, not only in the public, private, international business, in every arena that you're in. So we are really, really so proud of you. And I know ILF can never come this far without all your support, without all your enthusiasm, without all your conscientiousness. So for that, I really appreciate your continued support, and I will see you many, many, many years to come. So thank you. Now, I have the honor and privilege to introduce Secretary of Transportation Elaine L. Chao. Secretary Chao is the very first Asian American woman and the first Chinese American ever appointed to the President's Cabinet in American history. Like most of us, Secretary Chao is also an immigrant. She came over to this great country of ours when she was 8 years old, and she received her citizenship when she was 19. Prior to becoming the Secretary of Labor, Secretary Chao was the President and CEO of United Way of America. Before that, she was the Director for Peace Corps. She has distinguished record of service in public, private, and nonprofit sector. Today, Secretary Chao is the Secretary of Transportation, and she's also the leader of many emerging technologies such as the drone, robotic, self-driving cars, and artificial intelligence. She has devoted her entire life to help not just the Asian Americans, but other underserved communities to access the opportunities to mainstream America. Secretary Chao earned her MBA degree from Harvard Business School and also recipient for 37 honorable degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome the Honorable Secretary Elaine L. Chao.
Thank you, Dr. Xi, for that kind introduction. This conference is always a highlight of the year. It's so uplifting, inspiring, and inclusive. We're all really disappointed that we can't gather in person due to the COVID-19 situation, but I'm so glad that this conference is being held virtually. As we all know, the Asian American community has been hit especially hard by the current health crisis. Historically, Asian Pacific Americans have had the lowest unemployment rate of any group in our country, about 2.3%. The unemployment rate now for our community has surged to over 14.3% during the second quarter of 2020 due to this crisis. Since many Asian Pacific Americans are entrepreneurs and own their own businesses, our community has suffered disproportionately. So in addition to the government assistance, all of us have the challenge of trying to reopen the economy in a safe, phased approach so that millions of people who have lost their jobs and livelihood can return to work. And at the Department of Transportation, our goal is to keep the transportation system open, operational, and safe. You know, prior to this crisis, I'll bet that most people spent very little time thinking about the supply chain that is so important to our economy. Not anymore. While most of us were able to stay home in the early days of this crisis, the transportation systems of this country had to remain open to keep our supply chains strong. Truckers kept our store shelves stocked with food and other items and delivered much-needed medical supplies to where they needed to go. Air traffic controllers had to stay on the job to keep our national airspace open. Other airline workers helped to keep our planes flying. Buses and paratransit operators kept communities moving. Freight continued to move by rail. There are stories upon stories of American heroes during this crisis, and many of them are in the transportation sector. Under the CARES Act, which Congress passed and the President signed on March 27, 2020, the department allocated in record time $10 billion to airports, $25 billion to transit authorities throughout the whole country, and $1 billion to Amtrak. We also helped the Treasury Department disperse about $46 billion to airline companies, travel agents, and contractors providing services to aviation and airports. All of this money is to be used for payroll and intensified cleaning protocols and for sanitation equipment and supplies. And you may be interested to know that the department also distributed over 100 million face coverings to airports, truckers, transit, and maritime workers. As we continue to respond to the challenges of COVID-19, it is so important to continue to note the contributions of our community. For example, the White House Initiative on Asian American and Pacific Islanders this past week hosted a week-long virtual conference for young Asian Pacific American leaders on a range of important topics. In addition, the President's Advisory Commission on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders has submitted recommendations on how this administration can best support our communities, employers, businesses through the challenges of COVID-19. The initiative has also worked with the Department of Justice to connect Asian Pacific American communities with the Justice Department's Community Relations Services. This is key to helping Asian Pacific American communities work with local law enforcement to protect themselves and keep their families safe from hate crimes during this COVID-19 period. The Asian Pacific American community has so much to offer to mainstream America, and our contributions to the economic vitality of our country are needed more than ever. So thank you for all that you do to increase opportunities for our community, and have a great conference.
Thank you so much, Secretary Chao. Your unwavering dedication to our country and your outstanding accomplishments have immortalized you as a prominent role model for Asian Americans all around the country. Up next is U.S. Olympian Nathan Adrian. Nathan is a competitive swimmer whose debut came at the 2008 Summer Olympics. Since then, he has earned 5 Olympic gold medals, alongside 32 total medals in major international competitions. In 2014, Nathan was inducted into the Robert Chin Foundation Asian Hall of Fame, alongside the Honorable Norman Mineta and Bruce Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nathan Adrian.
Hi, this is Nathan Adrian from Team USA, saying hello from Oakland, California. If you can't tell by these goggle lines, I have been doing my best to continue to train for next year during this time. Don't worry, Mom, if you're watching this, I am wearing my mineral-based sunscreen. It is an incredible honor to be here in front of you at the ILF conference. I would like to send a huge thank you to Secretary Elaine L. Chao and Dr. Anthony Fauci for their continued leadership and service to our country. And congratulations to the ILF Civic Fellows. You are our future leaders, and I believe in each and every one of you. I would also like to thank all the AAPI frontline healthcare workers who are all tirelessly working to end this health crisis. COVID-19 has impacted all of our lives, and we simply cannot thank you enough for all of your work. My mom is a retired nurse, which helps me to really understand and appreciate what you guys are going through even more. The AAPI community has also been uniquely impacted by increased harassment and violence during this time. However, despite these challenges, we have come together to procure and donate much-needed PPE for hospitals to protect frontline healthcare workers in vulnerable communities. Thank you all for your generosity and courage, and together we can overcome this health crisis. Please do your part in protecting those around you by wearing a mask and practice social distancing. Thanks again.
Thank you, Nathan, for being here with us today and for being a positive role model for many Asian Americans, both in and out of the pool. Next, we would like to continue our program with a special video from ILF showcasing our 20 chapters as well as our COVID-19 relief efforts.
International Leadership Foundation was founded by Ms. Chilling Tong and a group of business and community leaders throughout the country. Dr. Paul Hsu is currently the chairman of ILF, and the Honorable Norm Mineta is the honorary chairman. ILF has a network of national advisory boards and global advisory councils in 20 cities. Comprised of professional, civic, business, and community leaders, they help prepare the young generation to become leaders in politics, economics, science, culture, and the arts. For the past 20 years, the International Leadership Foundation has annually held programs including the Civic Fellowship Program, Youth Leadership Academy, Business and Leadership Conference, Global Exchange Program, and annual awards and scholarship gala. The main purpose of ILF is to promote the civic awareness, public service, and economic effectiveness of the Asian Pacific American APA community, as well as develop young leaders in the United States, Asia, and other Pacific Rim countries in the fields of public service, entrepreneurship, and international business and politics through a network of business and community leaders. ILF strives to strengthen the global competitiveness and influence of the Asian American community and do the utmost to successfully cultivate Asian Pacific American students who have attracted international attention and recognition. President Barack Obama acknowledged ILF. Organizations like ILF empower young AAPIs to actively take part in the country they call home. Your efforts not only make AAPI voices known across government, in boardrooms, and throughout communities around our country, they also pave the way towards a brighter and more inclusive future. President Donald Trump commended ILF. For 2 decades, the ILF has helped future Asian Pacific American leaders develop the essential skills needed to succeed in their respective fields through internships, lectures, seminars, and networking opportunities.
During this challenging time, ILF's local advisory boards overcame all obstacles to conduct various virtual meetings to continue its mission to provide ILF Civic Fellowship, Youth Leadership Academic Program, scholarships, and educational seminars and professional training for select AAPI college and high school students. ILF advisory boards also worked hard from the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis to raise funds to donate PPEs to hospitals, police departments, state and local governments, and other institutions in New York, Florida, Texas, California, Rhode Island, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and North Carolina. The mission and stories will be continued.
Thank you to our advisory boards and ILF staff for helping to promote Asian American civic engagement and representation, as well as helping to combat COVID-19 through PPE donation. Next, you will see a brief video about this year's cohort of Civic Fellows, 30 undergraduate students from across the nation participating in projects and internships to develop their leadership capabilities and expanding their network.
Hi, I'm Shazia, and I'm a rising junior at NYU. I'm an intern at the FCC. I believe in freedom of the press.
My name is Crystal Chen, and I'm a rising senior from the University of Washington. This summer, I interned for the White House Initiative on Asian American and Pacific Islanders. I believe that no matter how small we feel, we're all capable of making great changes to this world.
Hello, my name is Kana Hong, and I'm going to be a rising sophomore at California State University East Bay. This summer, I was part of the Social Justice Initiative, and I believe in workplace diversity and inclusion.
My name is Adrian Lam, and I'm a rising senior at Washington and Lee University. The project I worked on examined healthcare disparities exacerbated by COVID-19.
My name is Matthew Long. I'm a rising junior at NYU. I'm doubling major in economics and politics, as well as minoring in business studies. I'm currently interning at the MBDA, Minority Business Development Agency, under the OND, Office of National Director. Some of the projects I've worked on include the Civil Unrest Project, the 8A program, as well as the annual report. I believe in equal opportunity.
Hi, my name is Julian Lin. I currently attend the University of Southern California. I'm a rising junior, and I'm currently interning at the Minority Business Development Agency.
My name is Sean Lin, and I'm a rising junior at Indiana University. And this summer, I'm interning at the Minority Business Development Agency. I believe in equal economic opportunity.
My name is Sarah Liu. I'm a senior at Vanderbilt University, and I intern at DOJ. I believe in empowering the AAPI community.
My name is Michelle Lin. I'm a rising junior at the University of Michigan. I was on the COVID-19 challenge team, and I believe in accessible and equal healthcare.
My name is Aaron Pathak, and I'm a rising junior at Rice University. This summer, I interned at the Environmental Protection Agency. I believe that healthcare should be for all.
My name is Adney Silva. I'm a rising junior at Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm interning with the Office of Congresswoman Grace Meng, and I believe in racial equity.
My name is Rebecca Sue, and I am an incoming junior at the University of California, Berkeley. And this summer, I got to intern for the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And I believe that we can break the glass ceiling.
I am Linda Tang, and I am a rising junior at Duke University. I worked on a challenge team focusing on health disparities during the COVID-19 pandemic in the United States. I joined ILF because I want to be more engaged in the issues that affect my community.
Hi, my name is Callie. I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Maryland, College Park, and I interned at USAID. I believe in both short-term moments and long-term movements.
I'm Yani Zhang. I'm a rising sophomore at Vanderbilt University, and I was on the COVID-19 PPE challenge team. The project I worked on empowered me to document and honor AAPI's relief efforts in the COVID-19.
My name is Callie Wen, and I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Maryland, College Park. Maryland's First Lady, Yumi Hogan, is the first Korean-American First Lady in the United States. Mrs. Hogan is a first-generation Korean-American, an accomplished artist, and an adjunct professor at Maryland Institute College of Art. Please welcome First Lady Yumi Hogan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yumi Hogan, the First Lady of Maryland. Congratulations to the International Leadership Foundations. I would like to thank Chilling Tong, Karina Shin, and the ILF board. ILF leadership has set a great example for the next generation of Asian Pacific American leaders. The programs you provide educate and benefit our future leaders and teach them how to continue to our community's legacies. We are living in challenging time. COVID-19 has impacted all of us. As the first Asian American First Lady in Maryland, I would like to recognize the contributions the Asian community has made across the nation, especially right here in Maryland, where our community has come together in an incredible way and donated more than 500,000 units of PPE. I also would like to recognize Eugenia Henry, your training committee chair for donate PPE to our state. Our state is home to more than 600,000 Asian Marylanders, many of whom are first generation. They have been resilient, supported each other, and worked hard to give their children a better future. And at this difficult time, our Asian community has proven again that we truly are stronger together, and we will get through this challenging time. I believe ILF will continue its great work for next decade, and I want to share this message with the next generations. Please be proud of your heritage and serve others again. Thank you. Please stay safe.
Hi everyone, I'm Shazia Ahmed, a rising junior at New York University. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Governor Daniel McKee, the 69th Lieutenant Governor of Rhode Island. As Lieutenant Governor, he is focusing on creating more economic opportunities for Rhode Island families and building solvent communities. Please welcome Lieutenant Governor Daniel McKee.
Hello everyone, I'm Dan McKee, Lieutenant Governor of the state of Rhode Island. And I'm happy to be here today on the invitation of the International Leadership Foundation. on joining in on your 2020 Virtual Leadership and Business Conference. In Rhode Island, over the last several years, I've enjoyed a great relationship with the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, both as a lieutenant governor and as also, prior to that, as a mayor of the town of Cumberland. And I've met many fantastic people. Two friends and businessmen in Rhode Island, Louis Yip and Sonny Ying. I've been working with them on many projects. And during the COVID-19, the early stages of the COVID-19, I approached both Sonny and Louis and asked them to help Rhode Islanders secure masks to help them keep them safe during the pandemic. Sonny and Louis got right to worked with the Rhode Island Chinese American community, and they were able to secure over 200,000 masks during a time when it was difficult to secure them and very difficult to get them in the state of Rhode Island. And through the generosity of the Rhode Island Association of Chinese Americans and the shipping cost to make a great donation that was very much appreciated in the state of Rhode Island, helping Rhode Islanders stay safe. So thank you to the Rhode Island Chinese American community, the International Leadership Foundation, and also to our good friends Sonny and Louis. I've been very fortunate to be able to work with the International Leadership Foundation over the years. Looking forward to continue to work with them, congratulate them on their leadership, their civic engagement, helping our high school students with scholarships, and the list goes on and on and on. So thank you to the International Leadership Foundation for your leadership. And thank you for the invitation to be here today. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the 2020 Virtual Leadership and Business Conference. We really do need everything that we can possibly put into leadership, not only in Rhode Island, but also around the world. And your leadership is very much appreciated. Enjoy your conference.
Hello everyone, my name is Adney Silva. I'm a rising junior at Franklin and Marshall College. This summer I've had the honor and opportunity to intern for Congresswoman Grace Meng, who is the Congresswoman for New York's 6th Congressional District. Grace Meng is also the first and only Asian American member of Congress in New York State, and more importantly, she's my boss. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Grace Meng.
Hi everyone, I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from Queens, New York. I want to thank Paul Hsu, Chi-Ling Tong, and the Board of Directors for inviting me to ILF's Virtual Leadership and Business Conference. As we all know, ILF is an indispensable organization that promotes the civic awareness, public service, and economic effectiveness of the AAPI community. And through its professional development programs, ILF continues to ensure a strong talent pipeline of young AAPI professionals who will lead this nation one day. This purpose-driven mission to help AAPIs has highlighted ILF's generosity over the last 2 decades, and in fact has been reinforced by ILF's response to our nation's public health crisis. In March this year, our country was swept up by COVID-19 that has resulted in unimaginable death and economic harm for millions of Americans. In our nation's darkest hour, I vividly remember the sounds of sirens throughout New York City, doctors and nurses from our Queens hospitals pleading for more personal PPE and the desire to help my city and my nation. I work day and night with anyone who would help bring PPE to New York, and I'm grateful that many AAPIs, including our folks and organizations like ILF, found ways to help. I want to specifically thank and recognize the many AAPI doctors and nurses and healthcare employees who work tirelessly to care for those in need, often at their own risk. They played an integral role, and their successes and sacrifices should not be forgotten. ILF also recognized it had an important role to play to ensure our nation knew of the contributions that AAPIs made to secure much-needed PPE for our frontline heroes. The generosity, compassion, and empathy of our community, of humanity, is deep. According to ILF, the AAPI community has donated an estimated total of nearly $32 million worth of contributions that covered masks, gloves, goggles, and gowns. Each additional PPE we secure is critical in our shared struggle to overcome this national health crisis. We should all be so proud of our community's contributions. And we should be proud of the about 2 million AAPI essential workers who kept our stores stocked, attended to patients, and operated our city's transit systems. They and so many other unsung heroes deserve our eternal gratitude. Going forward, we should continue to find ways to support one another, our communities, and our country. Everyone has a role to play to limit the spread of this virus. So as we go onward, I implore everyone to continue to wear a mask and practice social distancing. Thank you again for the opportunity to address all of you. Thank you for the tremendous work that you do and all your efforts. And I wish you a very successful conference. Take care.
Hi, I am Linda Tang, a rising junior at Duke University, and I am honored to introduce Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Prior to becoming a senator in 2013, Tim Scott served in the United States House of Representatives for South Carolina's 1st Congressional District from 2011. Since 2017, Tim Scott is one of the only 3 African Americans in the U.S. Senate and the only to both chambers of Congress. He is also the first African American senator from South Carolina and the first African American senator to be elected from the South since 1881. Please help me in welcoming Senator Tim Scott.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Scott, Senator from South Carolina here in Washington, D.C. I want to welcome you to the 2020 International Leadership Foundation's Virtual Leadership and Business Conference. Our unsung heroes on the front line and uniting together to build a better America. I want to personally say thank you to our medical workers and everyone who sacrificed and worked during the COVID-19 pandemic. And thank you to everyone here who is finding ways to help their neighbors in need during the devastating times in which we live. Our nation is better and stronger because of you. No, it looks bleak, but I believe our best days are without any question ahead of us. We will get through this and we will continue to progress. I want to congratulate ILF on their successful conference and thank you for all of the tireless work you do to uplift the AAPI community. God bless you all.
Hi, I'm Yani Zhang, a rising sophomore at Vanderbilt University. I am deeply honored to introduce our next speaker, Senator Marco Rubio, who has proudly served as one of Florida's senators since 2011. He ran for president in 2016 and is currently one of only 4 Latin Americans in the Senate. He also serves as the chairman of Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Let's extend our warmest welcome to Senator Marco Rubio.
Hi, this is Senator Marco Rubio, and I'm excited to see this incredible initiative by the International Leadership Foundation. You know, civic engagement is not just a cherished right in this country, it's an extraordinary opportunity to influence a direction, not just of public policy, but also the conversations that our communities are having about different topics of interest and different areas of concern. It is a particularly effective way to effectuate change, to have your voices heard, and to make a difference on everything from school board policies, local government, state government, federal government, and not to mention the views that the communities might have on a given issue. It's a fantastic opportunity to educate your neighbors and for different communities to interact with one another. So I congratulate you on this initiative, and I encourage you to keep going, stay engaged, stay involved.
Hello everyone, I'm Sean Lin, a rising junior from Indiana University, and I'm proud to introduce the representative of America Samoa, Amada Radewagen. Representative Radewagen became the first woman from America Samoa to serve in the House of Representatives when she was first elected in 2014. She also currently serves on the President's Commission for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Amada Radewagen.
Talofa lava. Delighted to speak with you and to express my appreciation for the mission of the International Leadership Foundation. Special greetings to Chairman Dr. Xu, CEO Chiling Tong, and of course, Secretary Elaine Chao. On this occasion, it's especially meaningful to highlight the exceptional work of the Asian Pacific Islander American community during this health crisis. It's been an unexpectedly difficult year in many ways. There's opportunity in that, to treat people with love, to choose to respond in positive or negative ways. In this case, a lot of wonderful people have stepped up and made a positive difference. I won't be the only one tonight to mention this statistic, but it's worth saying more than once. This generosity of $31 million and 10 million items of personal protective equipment has benefited over 2,500 institutions. Ultimately, though, it benefits people. ILF has a powerful mission, developing young leaders. We need them, strong, caring, informed young leaders, ready to grow in responsibility. It's a compelling mission, investing in the lives of these select scholars. Congratulations for all you do. Special congratulations to every scholarship recipient. Keep working hard. Thank you again to the generosity of the APIA community. I'm speaking to you from beautiful American Samoa. Wherever we call home and whatever our callings, our cultures and backgrounds are a great strength. We can find many reasons to be optimistic, and this good work can be part of a bright future. Thank you so much. God bless. Soifua and Fa'aftai Telelava.
Hi, my name is Ellen Lasco, and I'm a junior at UC Berkeley. Congressman Kevin McCarthy has proudly served California's 23rd District since 2006, and he is currently the minority leader in the U.S. House of Representatives. He also previously served as the majority leader from 2014 to 2019. Please welcome Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this year's Virtual Leadership and Business Conference. Now, for 20 years, the International Leadership Foundation remains a cornerstone of the Asian American Pacific Islander community. Your efforts have provided countless of America's future leaders the training they need to succeed in a changing world. And for this, I want to say thank you. Now more than ever, our youth count on the hands-on training and life experience of ILF members. And it is through your wisdom and determination that our next generation will be made fit to lead our country and world. I want to congratulate each and every one of today's award recipients. Thank you for your contribution to the Asian American Pacific Islander community and to our great nation. All participating today represent a part of the diverse spirit that unites us as Americans. And I wish you another 20 years of success.
Thank you, Congressman McCarthy. The success of this year's fellowship class and this conference would not have been possible without our partners. On behalf of ILF, I would like to thank all of our partners. We are able to support civic fellowship and all youth activities throughout the year. I would like to highlight some of our incredible partners: Superior Communications, Chenko Holding Company, the Xu Educational Foundation, AT&T, the Daofeng and Angela Foundation, the Luke Charitable Foundation, Harborview Foundation, McDonald's Corporation, National Ace, Comcast NBC Universal, Pyramid Systems, Global Federation of Chinese Business Women of Baltimore, the Chung Family Foundation, Agape Dental Group. And during this pandemic, AAPI companies are deeply engaged with PPE donation and production, such as BYD Care. Thank you to all of our sponsors and partners.
My name is Daniel Kim, and I'm a recent graduate from Columbia University. We are now excited to introduce Miss Mary Milben, one of the world's most celebrated singers. Mary has graced the stages of all kinds, from the White House to the Super Bowl, from Broadway to last year's ILF Gala. Mary has performed for 3 consecutive U.S. presidents and is thrilled to be back at this year's ILF Business and Leadership Conference to celebrate all the unsung heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome award-winning singer Mary Milben.
Thank you for welcoming me into your home today. You know, during this pandemic, we have had a lot of valuable time to sit and reflect on the importance of life. We've had meaningful time with our families. You know, for me, I'm really grateful that I've had this time to take care of my mother. A silver lining during this time has been the opportunity to meet new creatives, to collaborate, to innovate and learn how to create virtually, and to work with great teams to continue to bring inspiration to the world like we're doing today. But most of all, I've gained such a greater appreciation for America. I love America. You know, if you know me well, you know that my heart bleeds red, white, and blue. I can't think of a more important time than now for us all to be reminded about the greatness of America. You know, America's frontline workers, our unsung heroes, as we call them, have endured tremendous sacrifices and engaged in courageous acts on our behalf during these extraordinary times. Well, to me, the America's frontline workers, they are the greatness of America. I hope during this time that we can all be reminded that no matter how difficult the days may become or how uncertain our future may be, that there's one consistent truth, that America is still the greatest country in the world. And together, united, we will get through this. God bless America's frontline heroes, and God bless the United States of America. For spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. God bless America, beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairie. God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Mary, for that amazing rendition of America the Beautiful. And thank you for reminding us that we are a Maywo, a beautiful country. And our beauty comes from women and men across the country who have answered the call of service and dedicate themselves to improving the quality of life for all, whether through finding a cure for this pandemic, taking care of patients in the emergency room or recovery therapy, or delivering PPE to rural communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet our unsung heroes.
Hello, my name is Kenny Chen, and I am a proud alumnus of the ILF Civic Fellowship Class of 2011. Over the last several years, I have worked across sectors on international technology policy and artificial intelligence ethics, and I am now pursuing a master's in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. It's my pleasure to be with you today at this ILF virtual gala, and it's my privilege to introduce Dr. David Ho. Dr. David D. Ho is the founding scientific director of the Aaron Diamond AIDS Research Center and the Clyde and Helen Wu Professor of Medicine at Columbia University Irving Medical Center. He received his degrees from the California Institute of Technology and Harvard Medical School. Dr. Ho has been at the forefront of AIDS research for 39 years, publishing over 400 papers. His elegant studies unraveled the dynamic nature of HIV replication in vivo and revolutionized our basic understanding of this horrific disease. This knowledge led him to champion combination antiretroviral therapy that resulted in unprecedented control of HIV in patients. Dr. Ho's research team is now devoting considerable efforts on vaccine and antibody research in order to halt the spread of this AIDS epidemic. He has also worked on SARS and is now devoting time to developing drugs and antibodies against the new coronavirus. Dr. Ho was named Time Magazine's Man of the Year in 1996 and also was the recipient of a Presidential Medal from President Bill Clinton in 2001. Please welcome Dr. David Ho.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, I am David Ho, and I am a scientist who has devoted most of my career to addressing the HIV/AIDS pandemic. You have previously honored me for my scientific contributions, and I'm most grateful. Now it is a great pleasure for me to re-engage with the International Leadership Foundation. I have long admired what your organization does to promote civic awareness, to provide public service, and to improve economic effectiveness of the AAPI community. I hope you are having a wonderful virtual leadership and business conference this year, despite the interruptions caused by the coronavirus. And let me add my congratulations to the 2020 Civic Fellows. On this special occasion, and on behalf of the entire medical community, let me also thank the International Leadership Foundation for joining the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Your participation, together with a number of other AAPI organizations, to provide personal protective equipment was invaluable in safeguarding our frontline healthcare workers. Each and every one of us thank you. As you are all keenly aware of, we're now facing an unprecedented challenge posed by a novel coronavirus that has infected over 14 million globally, killing about 600,000 already. And this pandemic has yet to peak. Each of us must do our part to mitigate the spread of this virus. The public needs to buy time for the scientists to deliver effective interventions in the form of drugs, antibodies, and vaccines. The mobilization of the scientific community has been massive, and the progress being made is unprecedented in scale and speed. I promise you that science will ultimately deliver an effective solution to end this carnage. In the meantime, stay vigilant, fight on, be safe, and be well.
Hello, my name is Aaron Pathak and I'm a rising junior at Rice University. Dr. Ann Nguyen is an emergency medicine physician at Houston Methodist Hospital as well as a clinical instructor of emergency medicine at Weill Cornell and Texas A&M. Because Houston has been one of the hardest hit cities during the pandemic, Dr. Nguyen has been working tirelessly on the front lines trying to treat patients in urgent care setting. Please welcome Dr. Ann Nguyen.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. An Nguyen. I'm here at Houston Methodist Hospital in the ER. Thank you so much, ILF, for this honor and for recognizing frontline workers in this crisis. COVID-19, as you all have known, has created a significant PPE shortage. So thank you to the AAPI community for stepping up and donating much needed PPE to healthcare facilities across the country. Unfortunately, Houston is the newest hotspot for the virus, and this hospital is its epicenter. So we see hundreds of COVID patients daily, ranging from mildly symptomatic to fulminant respiratory distress and failure. We've all intubated and resuscitated the sickest of the sick, and never in my lifetime did I think I would be fighting one of the largest public health crises of our time, risking the safety of my family and myself. When I signed up to be an ER doc, I did it because helping people in their worst hour and putting their needs ahead of mine was instilled in me from birth. I'm a first-generation American. My family immigrated to the United States 28 years ago, seeking a better life from war-torn Vietnam. My parents saw a beacon of hope in the United States after witnessing people selflessly give their lives for a cause greater than themselves. The pillars for which the U.S. was founded on have enabled me to give back to the country that took my family in when we needed it the most. So now we must all unite and fight this virus with every tool we have in our disposal, including masking and distancing. So again, thank you for this honor, and I'm committed to working with you to fight this virus. It is inspiring to see AAPI leaders linking arms and presenting a united front. Stay safe and we will get through this together. Thank you.
I'm Jeremiah Zurin, a recent graduate from Harvard University. I'm happy to introduce two special heroes serving their respective communities. Giselle Canilau Relevo is a registered respiratory therapist and clinical coordinator for one of many brave frontline workers battling COVID. She's also with the National Federation of Filipino American Associations, Northeast, and the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Philadelphia. TJ Kim is an outstanding student from the Landon School and has leveraged his love for flying to make a real difference in his community. His project, Operation Supplies Over Skies, is centered around delivering supplies and essential medical equipment to rural critical access hospitals across the Commonwealth of Virginia.
It's like the walls are caving in. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but I just can't. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now. It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now.
up, help is on the way. 16-year-old TJ Kim is delivering life-saving personal protective equipment to hospitals battling the coronavirus. Many rural hospitals have fewer resources than those in big cities, and they're struggling financially. At least 170 rural hospitals have closed in the last 15 years, according to the Rural Health Research Program. TJ, who lives in McLean, Virginia, decided he wanted to help rural hospitals get the life-saving PPE they need and put his weekly flight training to good use.
Then we came up with Operation SOS, meaning supplies over the skies.
At this stage, TJ, who hopes to attend the Naval Academy, is learning to fly more than 50 miles at a time with his instructor. So he's making every mile count by delivering gloves, sanitizer, shoe covers, masks, and more to hospitals like this one, 120 miles south of Washington, D.C.
Every little bit helps.
And those receiving the supplies are amazed by the teen's selflessness.
I just told him how thankful we are and thank you, because I really truly believe as big as his project is, his heart is actually bigger.
TJ says the toughest part is rounding up the supplies, but as long as he can find them, he'll keep flying them to where they're needed most.
I'm just helping in whatever way I can.
And inspiring all of us in the process.
Wow, such incredible courage from 4 of the many heroes saving lives in our country. Countless Asian Americans are serving on the front line of this pandemic. And this summer, our fellows highlighted AAPI contributions in our United USA platform. You are about to witness how the AAPI community has contributed so much to the fight against COVID-19 and has helped procure and donate much-needed PPE to frontline workers.
My name is Letitia Wu. I was an ILF fellow in 2009 and interned at the White House. My ILF fellowship showed me how meaningful government service can be and how important it is for AAPIs to have a seat at the table. After graduating college, I joined the federal government, and 9 years later, I'm still here. The International Leadership Foundation has worked with major Asian American and Pacific Islander organizations to collect and share information about efforts made by AAPI communities around the U.S. in the fight against COVID-19. UnitedUSA.net is a platform to share inspiring stories, positive messages, and best practices to bring community together and make it stronger during these challenging times. The AAPI community has donated over $33 million, more than 10 million items of personal protective equipment, and benefited over 2,800 institutions, including hospitals, nursing homes, police departments, post offices, public transportation, fire departments, supermarkets, and local governments. We hope your organization will be able to provide your stories to our platform through www.ilfnational.org. Now, we would like to share with you some inspiring stories from our community and recognize their goodwill and contribution to the society.
Many in the community are helping to keep police and health workers safe.
Thank you so much.
From Flushing Hospital to Elmhurst.
Thanks for your support.
From local police departments to post offices, many of our frontline workers are wearing these face protection, all thanks to a group of local Asian American businesses and nonprofits. They came together even before the government pleaded for help to help make a difference.
Thank God we have to do something. And we did.
Robin Wee and close to a dozen other business owners and groups watched closely as the virus started taking the lives of people in Asia in January and sent critical supplies abroad. They quickly switched gears when they saw the virus was spreading home to New York, hospitals in our hardest hit areas.
Because we know our heart, we just want to make New York safe. We work together as a family.
Hoping we can get through this together.
Thank you so much.
Educational Foundation first launched the Okaloosa Fighting COVID initiative as a stopgap solution to meet a significant local and pressing need for personal protection in frontline healthcare and essential workplaces during the COVID-19 pandemic. Within just a few days, the organization was amazed by the number of volunteers, educators, professionals, companies, military members, and students who came forward to help design effective solutions and develop a fully operational 3D printing, sanitizing, assembly, and distribution effort that thus far has produced over 5,500 face shields and other items of PPE within Okaloosa County of Northwest Florida, while serving frontline workers in distant hospital settings and troops overseas. Okaloosa Fighting COVID, powered by SHU Educational Foundation and Step One Automotive Group, is inspiring innovation in these challenging times.
Under the bright lights, task force members watched as their name was projected high above the crossroads of the world, surrounded by the names of other groups who have also been fighting on the front lines of the global pandemic.
Today, one foundation gave the doctors and the nurses at Mercy Medical Center a gift far more precious than gold. The Dao Fong and Angela Foundation today unloaded more than 8,000 N95 masks.
This is vital equipment to help our frontline caregivers be safe themselves and be able to continue their heroic work.
In honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, the Life Preservation Initiative donated 140,000 non-surgical masks to the Salvation Army of Central America.
And Angela Foundation with a $1 million donation.
It will help so many people, and most of all, it was given from the heart.
COVID-19 hit, I realized that was God's calling for us to work together and preserve lives. Life preservation starts with protecting our healthcare workers and vulnerable groups. We jump into action.
This has been a great donation and it's a light at the end of a tunnel.
McDonald's entrepreneur is stepping up big time during this time of need. An immigrant who wrote his own rags to riches story is giving back by giving PPE to frontline workers throughout this pandemic. As part of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, ABC 7 News would like to salute Vacaville's CeCe Yin.
You may not have heard of the name CeCe Yin, but chances are you've been to one of his restaurants. The Vacaville resident runs a fast food empire with 30 McDonald's branches in Northern California, 16 in Solano County. Now, in addition to Happy Meals, he's serving out PPE.
We have been benefited so much as first-generation immigrants, and it's a good time to give back.
And the help is enormous. Millions of surgical masks, goggles, gowns, face shields, hand sanitizers. A gift from Yin's nonprofit to frontline workers everywhere. Vacaville, Vallejo, Fairfield, Sassoon City, Sacramento, and even Seattle and New York.
Ambulance, the firemen, the police, and because McDonald's, we working with them in the past, we continue to do that.
The 83-year-old entrepreneur says his desire to give back stems from his gratitude for the opportunities that America has given him.
I'm the principal of Villa Corda Elementary School. On any given morning, I have students that I have to send up to the cafeteria because they're hungry because they didn't get anything to eat the night before. And so once the pandemic hit, I had to notify my parents that the food distribution would not be happening. I know they were very distraught.
Where do I go?
The families in this area truly do depend on this food distribution, and they mark it in their calendars because they know that their income cannot sustain them and their food supplies for the month. The line is already down the street and around the corner. I think we're going to have a tremendous turnout today.
I haven't worked since the pandemic started. They let us all go for, safety reasons. We have 6 children in the home. We can't make it on what my dad makes because he's the only one that's working.
The Sushi Foundation has provided a great need in our community. Many of the parents have shared that now they can at least make it to the end of the month.
Nail salons among the many businesses hit hard by the coronavirus shutdown. And while thousands across Southern California are now closed, many owners are now getting together to try to give back in another way.
It's been heart-wrenching hearing the stories where I felt this much hurt, this much sorrow, this much grief, this much pain.
Wynn, the president of Advanced Beauty College, is now working with nail salon owners and their suppliers to turn a negative into a positive for others.
You have no business, you don't know how to rent, you're out of money, and because you look at your stockpile and you have something of value for the hospitals, you go and you give it. They're giving it.
The new focus, nailing it for healthcare workers through donations of masks and gloves.
We're part of a team that's already distributed 30,000 around Southern California in this past week.
CAABO International has donated over $100,000 in food pantry donations and provided over 63,000 hot meals and food kits. In addition, CAABO International is providing services such as grocery deliveries to senior citizens and other vulnerable populations. CAABO International is providing a large number of medical supplies for first responders as well as the general population. CAABO International has donated over 625,000 items of personal protective equipment. We also have over 1,000 volunteers stitching homemade masks. CAABO has funded over 1,500 supportive care supplies such as thermometers, oximeters, hand sanitizers, and more.
Thank you to C100 for the PPE donations from Montefiore Hospital. Thank you, Community 100 from Chinese Hospital.
During this health pandemic, the AAPI community has played a critical role in procuring and donating PPE to protect frontline healthcare workers and vulnerable communities. Thanks to you all at our local ILF chapters and partners for joining us in this fight. We could not have done this without you. Next, I would like to introduce someone that needs no introduction, Ms. Chiling Tong. Ms. Tong is the president and CEO of the Asian Pacific Islanders American Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship, or National ACE. National ACE is a key partner of this conference. Ms. Tong is also the founding president of the International Leadership Foundation and has been a volunteer all her life to support the AAPI youth. Ms. Tong served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of Commerce and was an Ash Center Research Fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School. Now, she is on the President Advisory Commissioner of AAPI. On October 24th of 2017, Ms. Tong was named the Advocate of the Year by the U.S. Department of Commerce and was recognized by the President in the White House for her significant contribution to minority businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Chiling Tong.
Lynn, thanks for your kind introduction and your tremendous leadership in organizing this conference. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the ILF leaders, advisors, supporters, and all participants. During these challenging times, we are able to connect and encourage each other through this kind of conference. Your continued support will make a huge difference in the life of the next generation on young Asian Pacific American leaders. I'm extremely honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci is one of the world's leading experts on infectious diseases and America's most trusted expert on the coronavirus. Dr. Fauci has been the director of the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases since 1984, when Ronald Reagan was president. Dr. Fauci has advised 6 different presidents. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the nation, for his work on HIV, and as a primary architect of President George W. Bush's program to help Africa fight AIDS. A young Tony Fauci grew up in New York City and went to school at the College of the Holy Cross in Massachusetts. Today, the entire country relies on him for advice and direction on how to contain the awful spread of COVID-19. He makes regular appearances on Sunday morning talk shows. He has testified before Congress more times than any other living person. Dr. Fauci's institute is leading the effort to develop and deploy an effective vaccine against the coronavirus. On television and in front of Congress, he reminds us that we need to work together to contain the pandemic. Despite the incredible demands on his schedule, Dr. Fauci offered to speak to us today when he learned of the efforts Asian Pacific American leaders were taking to support hospitals and first responders. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Warm greetings to you all. My name is Tony Fauci, and I am the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institutes of Health and a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the annual conference of the International Leadership Foundation, which this year is being held virtually with hundreds of people from across the country. As you know, this meeting honors Asian Pacific American leaders from all walks of life for their efforts to better our nation and their communities. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the 2020 ILF Civic Fellows who are taking part in the Leadership Development Program that fosters community leaders of tomorrow. As we continue to confront the unprecedented global pandemic of COVID-19, I am keenly aware how profoundly it has upended the lives of virtually everyone. However, it has become clear that we all must adapt to this situation, as you have done so well, and unite to overcome its many challenges. In this regard, I am deeply grateful to the hundreds of thousands of Asian Pacific Americans on the front lines of the United States response to COVID-19, including those working in the healthcare industry. In addition, I would like to thank the Asian Pacific American organizations that collectively contributed more than $31 million to acquire 10 million pieces of medical protective equipment and donate them to hospitals and emergency responders across the nation, a powerful example of American generosity in times of need. This donation of essential resources greatly aided our efforts to fight the pandemic, especially in the extremely difficult early months of March, April, and May. Here in the United States, the COVID-19 pandemic remains a serious problem. A staggering number of lives have been lost, and many more who have recovered from the coronavirus infection suffer debilitating after effects. Americans initially came together and successfully flattened the curve, which enabled hospitals to survive the surge of infections at the beginning of the pandemic. Subsequently, however, several areas of our country began reopening in an accelerated fashion, or had citizenry that ignored guidelines before those areas had reduced the pool of infected people to a low enough level that community transmission of the virus could easily be brought under control through the containment measures of identification, isolation, and contact tracing. Consequently, certain parts of the country are now struggling with alarming resurgences in cases. Our country is large and heterogeneous, and thus solutions must be tailored locally. However, heterogeneity does not mean we are not intimately interconnected. What goes on in one area of the country ultimately could affect other areas. I am hopeful that with the guidance provided by our states, cities, and communities, and the sustained discipline required of us all, we will, as a nation, gain the upper hand over this pandemic. Now is not the time for complacency, however. Rather, we must intensify our efforts, since our job is certainly not done. We also must remain vigilant in the face of future uncertainties. We do not know how the pandemic may further evolve or what its ultimate impact will be, especially as we head into the fall and winter seasons and the return of seasonal influenza. Our country's return to some form of normality will be neither fast nor easy. However, we can be encouraged by looking at what has happened in states such as New York and Massachusetts, which reduced community transmission of the coronavirus from very high to very low levels using the public health tools we have in hand. Public health endeavors are the pathway to economically reopening our country, not the obstacle to reopening. Heartening progress also is being made on the scientific front, and I anticipate this will become more apparent in the months to come. Large-scale efficacy trials of several promising COVID-19 vaccine candidates developed in record time are starting to be launched, and although one can never guarantee success in vaccine development, I am cautiously optimistic that we will have a vaccine by early 2021. A website we recently launched to recruit people into clinical trials, which testing candidate vaccines and other prevention strategies, has already attracted more than 100,000 willing volunteers. Clinical trials of multiple different types of treatments, including monoclonal antibodies, convalescent plasma, and hyperimmune globulin, may yield results even sooner. Unquestionably, we in the United States are at a critical moment in our response to COVID-19. Now is the time for us to dig deep, double down, and adhere to the simple practices we know work to protect ourselves and others until we have medical tools proven to safely and effectively prevent and treat this disease. Wash your hands, avoid crowds, wear a face covering, and physically distance. Together, we can do this. We can end this terrible scourge. And so, stay well and be safe. We are all in this together. And the only way this will end is by each of us choosing to be part of the solution. Thank you again for your personal efforts and generous donations that have made a difference in protecting and sustaining our frontline workers as they do their jobs to care for and protect us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anthony Fauci. On behalf of the AAPI community, we appreciate your leadership and dedication to helping our country navigate this pandemic. We stand with you, and we shall get through this together. You have been an inspiration to all of us about what public service, health, and science mean. I am confident that ILF Civic Fellows benefited from your message today. So thank you for all that you have done and all you will be doing to help our country. Ladies and gentlemen, today we came together to recognize unsung heroes who are working tirelessly to keep our community safe and to celebrate the 2020 class of ILF Civic Fellows. Through the fellowship program, ILF is working to help AAPI community find their seat at the table and help everyone achieve their American dream. COVID-19 is changing our lives, but America has faced tough times before, and each time we came out stronger when a generation stepped forward with new solutions. We're seeing that happen now. So I thank all of our speakers, our civic fellows, our partners, distinguished guests, sponsors, and especially advisory board members for providing so much of the energy, ideas, and support for the work that we do. This concludes our virtual conference today. We look forward to seeing you next year in Washington, D.C.